Okay, so if you followed my channel, you know that I went on a date with a female influencer, with a female coach that's got a high following, and it was part of a documentary about the pink pill, which is the female version of the red pill. The purpose of this breakdown is to show you that even though you may be appearing exactly what she says she doesn't want, you can charm her and get her in spite of that, right? And I'll show you that with communication skills, even though you can spout the most obnoxious, misogynistic stuff that would actually be repelling to the woman. But you can only do that when you have game, all right? And what I'm going to do here is break down those situations, whether it is body language, whether it is communication skills, and whether it is tension in between the communication and the body language.
Hello.
Hey, long time no see.
I know. When was the last time I saw you? I can't remember.
I think it was end of last year.
So here for context, I saw her on a date about a year ago, completely randomly out of Bumble. And early on in the date, I realized and I noticed that I think I saw her before. And I was like, oh, you're that girl from TikTok. And then early on, the masks dropped for the both of us. And then we realized we had friends in common. And it wasn't really a date. However, 1 year later, she contacted me for this show. And I thought, well, actually, how about we have that actual real first date for the first time? So in a way, that's kind of where it's coming from. Also, for further context, the narrative within the documentary was for me to lean in onto the red pill bad guy type of stuff, which I did, because at the end of the day, it's like no point trying to fight the framing of the production company or of the news organization, because they'll keep it in a way to frame you in such a way. So I might as well own it rather than trying to sidestep it.
Wow. So it's been a long time, really.
They talked about you on. Oh, I'm telling you, Louisa, if she finds the right guy, she'll simp for him.
All right, so as you can see, the body language is very lean back, very relaxed. There's no stress, there's no pressure. And what I did here is I used third parties that we both know of, talk about her, to make an assumption and an implication about her so that she qualifies herself. And it gives me that plausible deniability because it's not coming from me. So technically it's diplomatic immunity while creating diplomacy. The other thing is also bear in mind that this breakdown is very much shortened because that day lasted much longer. So you don't see the full sauce, but I'm just going to focus on very key moments so that it doesn't become too exhaustive, but you get some value.
Sometimes,
I don't know if I would simp.
have you ever simped?
So here she's evasive and she doesn't really want to say she's simped. So here what I want to do is I dig a bit deeper. But what I do as well is I don't want to make it sound like it's an interview. I don't want to make it sound like it's a domination. I don't want to make it sound like it's a judgment, right? That's why I have playful facial expressions. That's why I've got playful tone. And that's why I've got non-judging frame.
What, for a man?
Yeah.
No.
Or maybe that's where it's lacking.
So then when she said, I've never done that for a man, I'm using that as a way to challenge her as to where her outcomes are, because if she had done that with a man, she wouldn't be on a date with me.
Really? Do you think that's where I'm going wrong? That I'm not like...
Pick me?
I don't want to be a pygmy.
Why not?
Here, for example, you look at the facial expression, it's very relaxed. I'm not even doing that on purpose. That's just who I am, but I'm very nonchalant. So it's like, it's very slow paced in the eyes being closed, in the eyes being open, in the body being relaxed, whether it is leaning on the side or whether it's leaning back. Like that shows that you're really in a comfortable space. The other thing which is important is one way to create trust with someone is not to agree with her on everything. Obviously, there are things that you rather agree with because otherwise you break the compatibility. But if there are things that you can get away with by not agreeing, you're showing that you're just not a placater to her. Because the moment that you placate to her, she cannot trust you because she'll think that you just want something from her. So you just say yes, yes, yes to everything. By you saying no to something, you're not rapport seeking. Rapport seeking is when you're trying to force rapport with someone so that you get what you want from them. However, if you're trying to force rapport with someone, you're coming from a position of supplicating because you're making that person feel that they're higher value and that you're trying to basically reach them. Because when you seek it, because what you don't have. And the same way, by qualifying to someone, is indirectly telling and saying the frame that the person who she's qualifying to is higher.
Nobody likes a pygmy.
Oh, men love a pick me.
Do they?
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't think so.
Tell a guy, it's like, hey, you know what? This girl, she's going to cook.
And you can see flick of the hair. She's quite liking the fact that I'm fighting her frame. And when I mean I'm fighting her frame, I'm not going deep. I'm not going deep and serious. You can see that I'm making it a little bit absurd with the illustration, but she loves it because she's so used to guys being, I wouldn't say simping for her, but shrinking and being, I wouldn't say intimidated, but more just like not trying to ruffle any feathers because they don't want to fuck up the date. For me, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. So I'm actually enjoying it, but I'm not doing that because I'm trying to show that I'm right or I'm wrong. I'm enjoying that because I'm doing it in a completely absurd way while still keeping the frame right.
You're gonna suck, and she's gonna be mute. Where do I sign? And you'll see a line of guys signing up for that.
And here, what I did is I obviously exaggerated the claim so that she would pick onto something. And in doing so, she's still following the thread that I introduced. So I'm still in control of the conversation because there are many ways of controlling the conversation by asking a question or by introducing thread that she is picking up upon. If someone doesn't pick up on your thread, you're not controlling any conversation and you don't have any hooks.
Those are not the kind of guys I'm attracted to.
All right, what other kind of guys are you attracted to?
Definitely not the kind of guy who's looking for a mute woman.
Okay.
So here what she does is she confirms that may be right what I'm saying. The same way as what I did by saying to her, maybe that's wrong, by you not being a pick-me. She's not disagreeing with the fact that many guys may like a pick-me, but it's not the guy that she's looking for, which is fair enough. And it's a very good play from her on that side.
So
I'm looking for the kind of guy who looks at a woman and he goes,
again, here, another facial expression showing I'm not impressed. It's not only about what you say, but it's what are the facial expression you give to the other person. By showing that person that you're not impressed, you're indirectly communicating to them, you got to rise up to your level in order to get my attention.
I want her because we are going to take over the world together. We're going to be a power couple. She's actually got brains. I'm attracted to that.
yeah, you can.
All right, here, so she's using the fact that I'm a different woman that doesn't want lower quality type of guy that won't pick me's, right? So she's reframing herself as higher, and the guy that will want her are going to be higher by default, and indirectly telling me that the type of guys that you're talking about are losers, and potentially even me. But it's not about taking it personally. You're looking at what is being said, and in doing so, what you do is you pick up on what she said, the same way as how she used to pick me, being a low status indicator. What I'm going to do here is exactly the same thing. I'm going to use the fact that she says it's not wrong to have a brain. I'm going to take on that thread and I'm going to reframe it in a different way.
I have a brain without having to talk.
All right. Here I say, yeah, you're right. You can have a brain, and guys don't mind to a woman that have a brain, but it's about how you convey having that brain. If you're going to be like a fucking parrot, talk, you're conveying the opposite of what you want to display.
Yeah, but is the problem that the woman is talking? Or
again, another facial expression of just like, oh, she's talking nonsense. But again, those are not saying, oh, you're fucking dumb, you're a bitch and everything. It's kind of like, raise your level.
Or is it the problem that the woman is saying stuff that is triggering to you?
All right, so that's the end of the first bit. And then you have one of the people from the news companies that is making comments. So as I said, I'm being framed as the red pill guy, therefore I leaned into the narrative, and I'm going to move away from the second part, which to be honest has no real value, is just red pill spewing, because I need to fill that part of the contract.
Stepped outside from the date. He's clearly like a red pill manosphere guy. Earlier she said that's exactly what she wouldn't want, you know, she's trying to fight them and how dangerous this is. She's not really challenging his points. She's kind of allowing him to say quite misogynistic and sexist things. He also keeps calling her Louisa and her name is Sakina. She hasn't really corrected him on that. So I don't know really where her argument stands.
Why?
All right, here is just pointless. So I'm just going to move to the next part. All right, here we're coming towards the end of the date. So you missed a lot of the sauce, but you know, again, I'm not in charge of the editing and the clipping, so complain to them. So now you're going to see how we left the date. And there's a very important lesson here.
I don't know. What do you think? I don't know if it was there.
All right, here what she's doing is she's trying to bait to see whether or not I'm interested in her, because I didn't give her as much validation, but she want to make it sound like it's coming from her own agency. So it's an invitation to qualify myself and to quell the tension that she's basically outsourcing to me. But what I do here is whenever a woman is bringing tension up, the last thing you want to do is quell that tension. Because when you quell that tension, you're directly communicating that you have very weak pressure points. And by that, you don't really have any masculine frame. Whenever a woman brings tension, you rise up the tension so that the tension collapse on her. It's a bit like someone serve on a tennis ball onto your court and you return it. By you quelling the tension, you're putting the ball straight into the net. Whereas you want to increase the tension by returning it into her side of the court. And then most of the time, they'll collapse because they don't have the ability to sustain that tension, and that increase attraction. And this is what I do.
There's only one way to know.
All right. So the first thing is there's only one way to know. I don't fight the frame she gives. I sidestepped it and I push the burden back onto her. And then I use the eye contact to increase the tension and get her to collapse it. And there's silence as well. And she laughs. And from that moment on, I know I'm in. Flick of the hair, you can see. Smile, she's bought in. So technically, she got the validation without me directly giving the validation that she is in. And even though there was all that framing of female empowerment, a woman strong this, woman strong that, she still wants a man that is stronger than her, and that is directly impacting her receptors, no matter whatever her narrative is.
It's okay.
And because of those positive signals, I escalate with the physical hug.
You may not like me for what I say, but you like my energy.
And here she's basically using the finger like, no, cut this, or just saying, this is not right, this is not right. But she shows she's not in control of her feelings.
It's all good.
I do like your energy. However, I don't know if I like your philosophy. And I feel like maybe the way that you see women is everything that I'm fighting against.
She can't help smiling. So you can see that she's in two worlds. On the same one, there's an unconscious attraction and there is a conscious narrative.
He called you the wrong name for quite a lot of the date, and you didn't really correct him. Do you think that that was enough?
I mean, I did correct him in the end. In terms of like, did I challenge him? I think I did. I think he's going to go home and think about a lot of things that I said to him.
I very much did, yes.
Do you think there's any world where if he did do that work that you could see him again? Or?
Yeah, I do. I think if he really did the work on himself, you know, he was funny. I'll give it to him. He was charming. But is that the kind of man that I want to be with long term? Probably not.
Was he charming?
I mean, he had the banter, right? He made me laugh a couple of times, but overall he was very crude and very vulgar. And it's just not the kind of man that I go for.
All right, which is quite funny here, is she ended up defending me, even though I really said the most awful shit. But this goes to show, you know, it's a bit like when, you know, like that girl is going with a guy that she shouldn't be going, and all her friends are basically shitting on him and she's defending him, because at the end of the day, the unconscious attraction is more important. I hope this was useful. I hope you got some learning and some lessons from this video breakdown. So I suggest you like and subscribe if you want to see more of those breakdowns, whether it is text, whether it is video, and don't forget to put the notification bell so that you don't miss any episode. I'll see you next time.